Hey everybody, it's Ben with Broad Shoulders Farm. It's September 2nd, 2020, and I'm out hanging out in the duck paddock today. I've been working in the shade of these young pecan trees, and I'm just shaping up the earthworks that I did for the ducks earlier this year in the spring, and doing a little reshaping some things that I'm kind of reconsidering, or changes that are coming. So, hey everybody, ducks are absolutely incredible. It's not just a duck paddock, they share the space with the geese as well. So it's really the waterfowl paddock, but if you haven't seen this spot before, it's from this fence here all the way up to there. It's about 70 feet or so, maybe close to 100. And then it's about 40 feet across, and then it comes back here, and then it seals up. Right now I'm inside Ellis's new dog accommodations, his new dog platform. Let me flip the camera around. My wife and I built this for him yesterday. He does not like his dog house. He hasn't been in it since the day we got it, and the day we got it was the day we got him. We're trying to make that more appealing to him, but also trying to give him a spot outside or away from the mud, and a place where the ducks won't eat all his food and drink his water, which they are still trying to do. A place with a bit more shade, because previously, or most of the year, he's been hanging out in the shade, in the dirt, in the mud over there underneath those pecan trees. So this is Ellis's new structure, and the ducks have already started colonizing it. I've caught many of them under here just chilling out, which is totally fine. So let me talk a little bit about the earthwork. So I started building this pond the first year that I was here, that I had the waterfowl up here, because water just started kind of accumulating. I know that you can create a little pond and seal it with livestock, with pigs or ducks. Over time, their manure will start to seal the pond, seal the structure, and also our soil here is very heavy red clay, as you can see. Hey Ellis! Hi Bubba! Hey, how you doing? You're a good boy. Alright, I'm gonna keep working on this. So the idea was just to give them some sort of water place to play. If you keep waterfowl, you know that they don't have to have water, but water definitely improves the quality of their life. And so I wanted to do my best to make that happen. So they do have little kiddie pools over on the other side of the duck house that I fill for them every day. And when I dump that water out, what I basically designed was a way to channel it through, there's a channel through here that has actually gotten kind of clogged up, and I'm retrenching it today. There's a channel through here that's gotten clogged up a little bit in the middle, and I'm retrenching it today. There's a channel down here that is perfectly intact and has been working all season long. And then there's a channel behind the duck house, because I said there are two pools up there, and when I dump them, the water from this lower one can go through any of these three channels, and the water from the back one, some of it goes that way, but the rest tends to come through here, this little meandering path. And you know, the goal with all of this is to slow the spread of water over the terrain here, and spread it out and sort of soak it, so that it can nourish the plants that are here, the plants that I've been able to get established in here inside of protective fencing, because the ducks and the geese are merciless to unprotected plants. I've got a yellow transparent apple tree that I'm going to be working on espaliering in there. There's a Bartlett pear tree that's doing fine. I'm working on espaliering it. I got this dwarf Illinois everbearing mulberry tree set up with a blackberry or raspberry underneath it. There's a fig growing here that has survived. It went in this spring. I think the only reason it survived is because some horse nettle popped up in there with it, and the ducks and the geese are unable to distinguish one from the other, so they just kind of leave the whole thing alone. The peach tree is up tall enough that they leave it alone. There's a pear tree there on a slant, or just a spindle of a tree. part of the water management problems. I had this all built up and then it broke loose and it created a couple little sub ponds or little silt ponds over here that were running out the bottom end here of the paddock. That's south, by the way, due south. The house is oriented due south so they can get as much sun as possible in the winter and heat it up. But so first thing I did today was close up the break in the pond here, and then I'm working on building this up. And I'm not doing like, serious, back-breaking digging here. I have done that in the past, but all I'm doing today really is skimming off this top layer of muck and just kind of throwing it back up. This is a process that will take some time. And that's okay, because I'm not in any hurry. I'm trying to create a lower shelf as well as an upper rim. It would be awesome if I could get some plants established in here, some aquatic plants at the very least. Even if I could just get duckweed set up and growing in here, that would be a wonderful supplemental feed to have for the ducks and the chickens. Very low maintenance, easy to grow. So we'll see about that, but on the off chance I could get something else growing in here like an arrowroot or any kind of lilies or something like that, I'll just have to work on it and see what's actually possible. I was able to get these black willow propagated in here, and all I did was take shoots like this from my house where we have a black willow in town, and I just stuck them in the ground here this spring. They didn't get much protection, and they managed to do okay. And if you look at the base of these, though, the ducks and the geese just strip the bark. And as long as there's a little, thin strand of cambium, these top parts will be okay. But the waterfowl are really rough on it. But I'm hopeful that they're tall enough now that it's not going to be a problem moving forward. In fact, here in another couple weeks, or maybe sooner, I'm going to come in here with shears and take the tops off of all of these, cut them down, cut them back to about waist height, and then all these extra sprigs of growth or all these branches, I'm going to be sticking them elsewhere where I want them to absorb water. I may even put a few around the edge of the pond here. I'm not sure. I can definitely propagate them in other places on the farm and in the orchard where I want like a little windbreak or any sort of dividing hedge. Willows are awesome for that. Not only do they make for a nice, quickly established windbreak or screen, they produce really nice flowers in the spring that are an excellent early forage for bees and pollinators, which is part of what we're doing here. So big fan of willows. I have a few other willows. Hi, Bart. How you doing? What a good boy. I have a few other willows here. These are curly willows, and I've got 1, 2, 3 of them set up here, where I've also got 3 channels. There's 1, 2, and a third one up there. These channels are essentially designed to take water that comes off of this area up here, which is going to be filled out in greens here in the next few weeks, and set up for our fall garden. And as that water from the lanes runs down there, there's a ditch right here. So the water comes down, fills in this trough, and then comes through these different areas and is channeled into this trench here, and again is further filtered into the pond. So I'm trying to come up with multiple ways to keep the pond fairly full and from evaporating. I'd love to get some cattails maybe planted in here, or some reed grass or something that acts as a natural biofilter, some sort of swamp or bog plants. Just things that as the water comes through, it undergoes a little bit of filtration, just to clean it up a little bit. I'm not expecting anything huge, but I thought it would be nice. And also things like reeds, equisetum, and cattails have different medicinal and even food edible properties as well. So I always try to have plants that do double, if not triple or quadruple duty. So one thing about these trees, you may think it's kind of weird to have these willow trees that get 15 to 20 feet tall, potentially blocking as they grow my southern exposure into the garden here. And the plan actually is that once I got these established, which I feel like they are now established, despite just merciless nibbling from the ducks and the geese is that what I'm going to do is I'm going to pollard these, which is to cut at about breast height or brows height, usually if you're trying to get something up above deer brows. I'm going to pollard them this winter, which means I'm going to come in here and I'm basically going to cut like right about there on all of them probably, and take all of this out. And what that does is that will help the tree age longer, but also stay shorter. Pollarding and coppicing are, I think they're European techniques, but they could very well be indigenous techniques as well. Coppicing is when you cut a tree down at ground level. Pollarding is when you do it up higher. And it's not going to kill the tree, especially a robust tree like these willows. But all the extra plant matter that I'm going to cut off is another product for the farm, because I can propagate these trees easily from these cuttings. Willows are extremely easy to propagate. I can set them up in the nursery. I can sell them to farm customers. I can also sell them or use them myself in bouquets. Florists really like to have these dried corkscrew willow bits for decoration in arrangements and such. So it's another way for me to try and get another product out of the space. So, hey Red, how are you doing? If you're not already familiar, you'll know that the roosters that hang out in here are part of the waterfowl home for gentle lads. These are roosters who were too gentle to live in the bachelor pad, and they kept getting beat up, but they come here and they live with the ducks, and the geese are much nicer roommates for them, so they hang out here. There's a few of these lads here. Just a quick note, the duck house looks pretty rough. I'm really disappointed because when we first got it in this spring, I was so proud of it. It was so nice to go inside. And we had a spring storm with a really high wind, and I never thought it would flip this thing over. This thing is 36 by 12. No, it's 24 by 12. And I really thought that it would be perfectly safe, and it actually blew this whole thing over, and it landed over here on the garden. It took me a while to get some friends to help me flip it back over, but it's really just not been the same. It's really warped. It's really busted up, and it kind of breaks my heart. And I've made some kind of general cosmetic repairs to it. There's still a few to be done, but now I'm just kind of thinking, I think I can get through the winter with this, and I'm just trying to save up enough that maybe I can buy like a prefab shed or build a shed, maybe with help from my father or others, to just make them a better house, because this one just is rough. But anyhow, we're talking about the water, so that's basically the changes that are going on here in the duck paddock right now. I need to clear out this weed. I can't remember what it is. Maybe I can't remember if it's something in the nightshade family. It's not shizo, which is not in the nightshade family, but which does appear here kind of naturally at the farm, I've noticed. But it's getting ready to flower and eventually set seeds, and I don't want that. The ducks and the geese are clearly not interested in it, so I need to chop it all down and either haul it out or leave it in place to form some mulch and add more organic material to the soil. I have a cover crop mix that I've been sowing in here throughout the summer in both of these, and it's revealed a problem, which is that you can see that as far as the ducks and geese can reach on both sides, all the young growth there gets eaten up. The reason I'm putting in a cover crop here is because I would like to have some edible greens for the waterfowl, year round. And I used to have chicken wire over all of this, and it was just too flimsy. So I replaced it with this 2-inch by 4-inch opening welded wire, 4 feet tall. And no, this is 3 feet tall. Yeah, this is 3 feet tall. And it's definitely rigid enough, and it keeps them out of it and from going under it, keeps the waterfowl from going over or under it. But this opening is so big that the ducks and the geese easily crane in here 12, 16 inches, no problem. So what I think I'm going to do is actually cover it. I'm going to add another layer of wire, but I'm going to run chicken wire all along the outside of both of these so that I can finally sow cover crops in here and let them do their thing to provide the birds some greens once the greens are a bit more mature. Because right now only this central strip here is getting established. And the mix that I've been using this summer is cowpeas, amaranth, sorghum, daikon radish, and buckwheat. And then there's things like yellow dock, which are just all over the farm and kind of established establish themselves. Thanks, Bart. But so that's what's going on. You can see I've still got some work to do to kind of clear out these channels again. A ridge has developed here, a hump, so I've got to take that out. Ultimately, I'm going to do some sort of planting along all of these little humps that I've got here. That could be elderberry, that could be more willow. It's probably going to be more willow. I've got a oh gosh, what's that called? A river birch that's gotten fairly well established there despite a lot of nibbling. Ultimately, this space here underneath these young excuse me, pecans is going to be my mushroom growing operation. I'm going to fence in behind the 3 or the 4 foot fencing, like a 25 by 25 foot square here, leaving a walking path all the way around it for a duck moat, which is a thing I learned from Steve Gabriel up in Trumansburg, New York, the Finger Lakes Permaculture Group. At a meeting of his, Steve basically taught me that if you grow mushrooms, you will get slugs, but the ducks and geese love to gobble them up, so they will take care of your slug problem as long as you leave them some access around the perimeter. So, guys, did you knock that over? I'll clean it up. But that's what's going to go here eventually. I'm thinking about planting rows of Sharon all along the outside edge here, because they can handle the partial shade in the second half of the day. They can take all the morning sun for the first half of the day. They'll be very happy with that. I'll pile a lot of this muck up and build a raised mound to plant them in. They don't mind wet soil, but they do need it to drain. But the rows of Sharon will give me flowers for a long time, from late summer into fall, for pollinators. Edible flowers for salads. They're in the hibiscus family, so they will also give me some salad type greens for the birds as well as for people. You can definitely eat the leaves. They're very easy to propagate. So for those reasons, I'm really starting to think about rows of Sharon quite a bit here. And then just 2 more things I want to add. One is that I'm looking at building some cement pads up here to place the food and water bowls on in a more kind of permanent location. Maybe set up 1 or 2 of them so that the bowls don't get all muddy from being directly on the ground. I think I would like to do that. I can't build like something like raised wire because I have different ducks that have special needs. I've got Legs, who has a bum leg, and I can't really do any sort of things that get them so high up that it's difficult for a duck to get up and then get onto it. So I need things that are at ground level. And right now, the idea of some just a thin cement slab or quickcrete is very appealing to me. The last thing I'll say is that, so, okay, I'm in here clearing all this out. That's great, Ben, but it's just going to fill up again. Well, yes, it will. And I got to say thank you to Sean and Sasha from Edible Acres. They've got a fantastic nursery and farm also in upstate New York, and a great YouTube channel. But Sean regularly harvests the silt and the muck from his hand-dug trenches. He just loads it up into 5-gallon buckets and then takes it to where he's building garden beds, whether that's like a hugel mound or he's setting up new raised beds or anything. So that was a real eye-opener to me, gave me a great idea for, I can just keep piling this stuff up, but at a certain point I'll have my piles, my ridges made, and I'll need to do something with the muck that keeps being produced by the ducks. And that muck is very, very fertile. And so I'm kind of happy to have a use for it now in mind. But that's where we are right now. So I hope that you enjoyed this. If you have questions, concerns, comments, feel free to ask away. And you can also follow us at Broad Shoulders on Instagram and Facebook. And yeah, that's what's going on here. Wherever you are, I hope you're having a great day. I want to go and check on that little duck because, I don't know, I can't tell if she's tired or what's going on. I'm a little concerned about it. So you folks take care, and I will catch you later. Bye-bye.